I just picked up the Bambu Labs X1C with the AMS combo to replace an old Prusa 3D printer. Let's unbox it and get it set up. We pulled the X1C out of the box. At the bottom were 3 spools of filament consisting of basic PLA, PLA-CF, and PLA support. A small box containing a wireless mouse component kit was also at the bottom of the box. It looks like it will be a fun maker project to do later. The rest of the components are inside the printer enclosure. Start by removing the plastic wrapping surrounding the 3D printer. Lift the top glass off and set it aside somewhere safe. From the top of the enclosure, we can see the AMS and a cardboard box containing the accessories sitting inside. Pull that cardboard box out, open it up, and look for a long skinny hex wrench. It will be the bigger of the 2 wrenches. Next, we will open the front door and look for red arrows pointing towards 2 screw holes. These 2 screws are holding the AMS in place to protect it during shipping. Using the wrench, we will remove these 2 screws. And now we can pull the AMS cabinet out from the top of the enclosure and set it aside somewhere safe. Now if we look through the top of the enclosure, we will see red arrows pointing to 4 screw holes that fasten the plastic shipping cradle to the bottom. Using the wrench, remove the 4 screws, then remove that plastic cradle. As we continue looking down through the top of the enclosure, we see that we need to remove a protective piece of cardboard around the extruder print head in the back right corner. We also need to remove a foam pad protecting the excess chute in the middle rear. We now see that we have red arrows pointed to 3 screw holes as we look down through the top of the enclosure. Remove these 3 screws because they are holding down the Z-axis print bed. Grab the touchscreen from the accessory box and connect it to the ribbon plug poking out the front of the printer in the top left. Now align that screen to the slots in the front of the printer, push it in, and slide it to the left to lock it in place. Now let's grab the glass lid we set aside earlier and place it back on top of the printing enclosure. Next, place the AMS cabinet on top of the glass enclosure lid. Looking behind the enclosure on the right side, there are 2 mounting holes. The hole on the right will have a screw inside that we need to remove now. Inside the accessory box, we will find a black bracket and a small plastic bag with 2 small screws. Fasten the black bracket using those 2 screws to the mounting holes. This will be the spool holder if we are not using the AMS. Connect the white tube from the back of the AMS cabinet to the left side of the filament buffer. Next, connect the 6-pin bus cable from the back of the AMS cabinet to the left side of the filament buffer. Then, connect the 4-pin bus cable from the bottom of the filament buffer to the rear panel of the enclosure on the right side, just below the spool holder we just installed. Now we will open up the AMS cabinet and set up our desiccant pouches. These are important to controlling the humidity inside the cabinet to protect your filament. Find and remove the 2 grills located here and here. Pull out the desiccant pouches inside, remove the plastic, and replace the pouches and grills back. Now, plug in the printer to an outlet and flip the toggle switch found on the rear to the on position. Next, we will load our filament in the AMS cabinet. Place the spool inside and set it on the rollers. Locate the end of the filament and remove the tape. Now push forward on the button in front of the spool and start to insert the filament into the hole. At some point, the AMS will detect the filament and start a procedure to automatically load that filament from this point forward. The AMS will let you know it is ready once the light stops blinking. You should see the spool roll forwards and backwards during the procedure. If it seems like it is getting stuck, then the spool may be rubbing against something. This happened to me on one of my spools, so I needed to slide the spool to the side by a millimeter or so to get it to turn freely. Follow the instructions on the touch screen until you reach a screen displaying a QR code. Download the Bambu Handy application to your phone and sign up for a Bambu Lab account. Now scan that QR code with your phone so that your printer can be added to your account. Eventually, the touchscreen will ask you to perform calibrations and updates, which you should accept. During the calibration, the print bed will raise up and give you an opportunity to remove the foam blocks sitting on the bottom. You will also want to download Bambu Studio from the Bambu Lab's website to a computer so that you can process and send your 3D prints to the X1C. You will sign in using the same account created earlier in the handy